Meat City, baby.
Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another episode of Battle Bites here in World of Tanks. And today we are once again behind the controls of the Bourrasque, this tier 8 French medium premium tank with the 2-shot autoloader. It is really good. But today's video, we're going to see the Bourrasque in 2 different battles. And I think it's going to highlight one of the, I guess you could say, weaknesses of the tank. In my opinion, it is a little bit more dependent than the average tank or than most high-performing tanks than on the rest of your team in order to carry a battle. Because this tank has such a long reload between its shots, right? You get that 2-shot punch, 720 average alpha damage. You fire them really quickly, and then you've got a 20-plus second reload and a tank with very little armor. Now, don't get me wrong, this tank can absolutely carry battles in the right situations. It is small and stealthy and can use view range mechanics. And if you can engage a target and fire your 2 shots and retreat and hide and do your reload, yes, of course, you can pick off enemies one by one. But if your team gets overwhelmed, if they get swarmed, if you lose a flank, it is really tough to turn the tide of that kind of game in this tank, again, because of the limitations on the gun. So we are in a standard battle on Kaunas, and we finally fire our first shot and then quickly our second shot to get the first kill in the entire battle on the SPPZ-1C. The German light tank on the enemy team there was out in the open, and he had just a little bit too much health for our first shot to take him out. But thankfully, I think he turned. I don't think I tracked him, but I might have tracked him. He did a really hard spin there and changed direction. We were able to get the gun back on track and put that second shot in. So 2 accurate shots results in our first kill. And that's a great start to the game, but then we can see almost immediately we start to fall behind now. It's 13-14, and this flank to the east, we've got a heavy tank and a light tank kind of holding the corner there, and nobody else is with them. So I'm in the middle. I'm trying to kind of split the difference and see where I could be useful. I don't want to just run in there, right? I can't take hits. The tank isn't well armored, but I'm hoping I can provide fire from a different angle and support these guys and help them hold on. And then very quickly we find out that that's not going to work. The Minuteman gets taken out and the EBR-90 wrecked itself. It looks like there's no big cliffs over there, so he must have been on really low health and trying to escape. And just like that, that entire flank is gone. We're down 3 tanks, and so there's nothing that I can do now to hold back that flank. I could try and sit and stay and then spot the enemies as they push across the top of the map, the northern block there, towards our artillery, towards our base. That's probably going to happen, but they could just as easily cut the middle of the map right towards me, and then I'm in a close quarters combat, and I'm definitely going to lose that. So instead, I decided to pull back and get out of there because we just didn't know what was going to happen. And I think there was 4 tanks, right? There's nothing I'm going to do against 4 tanks pushing all at once across the map like that. So instead, I decide to try and use my mobility and quickly switch to the other flank and help that flank. If we can win that flank, then we can regroup and engage the enemies that broke through on the other side. So that's the plan. That's what I'm trying to do. So we are fully reloaded, but we've got to hustle here, right? We are down now 4 tanks. The numbers are getting smaller on each team, and the gap is staying the same, which is really bad news. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get aggressive here. We see the Comp Panzer, I think that is. We put in 1 shot and then 2 to take out that Kunzepanzer 50T. And since that was our second shot, now we have to reload. So I'm tucked in here against the wall, and I'm trying to just hide and wait and hope. And we see the Jagdpanther. He had to know I was here. He had to see me duck into this spot, but no turret, so that's going to make it difficult for him to face towards me because his armor then would be useless against all the tanks in front. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. Get into an advantageous position, create those multiple lanes of fire. He drives past us, and boom, 1, 2 shots again, and that secures our next kill against the Jagdpanzer. And so again, we're on reload, we're almost there, and now we're ready to roll again, fully reloaded. And yeah, there's tanks in close proximity, so we're going to come out, and I thought I could see the outline of a tank there. There's an M48 RPZ. He's just over the corner, but he's on full health, so we're not going to be able to do too much to him just yet. Again, with our 720 alpha damage, we would only take out half of that tank, but our allies are putting in some really good work. Okay, so we're going to go for it here. I saw one of those tanks is definitely a 1-shot, so we're going to crest, We see the AMX 65T. He was facing to the side, so we put one shot into his side. We're reloaded. We have the back now of that M48, and that is a double deuce. 2 shots, 2 kills with the Bourrasque, and that's the dream magazine for this tank to finish off 2 tanks in one clip, just 2 seconds apart. Unfortunately, now we're on a reload, and again, the 3 tank gap just remains constant. Every time we take out a tank, we lose tanks on our team as well. So yes, we get ourselves into position here behind the Alder VK. We take him out with 1 shot. We don't need the second one, so we go for a reload, and we're down to 2 tanks. It's just me and 1 last friend, so I decide, well, let me at least try and go and take out the artillery. They should be spaced from the rest of the tanks. I know the rest of the tanks are coming from our base and then down from that northern side to the south. So let's make a blitz. Maybe we can break through and see the artillery. No, there is a Rheinmetall Borsig back here protecting the artillery, hidden. And even though I was like down below him, I thought the gun to elevation or the gun depression would be a problem for him. He's still able to put in a big old meaty hit. He's got the short barrel gun on that. I think that's a 150 millimeter gun. Yeah, he hits us, but we do get to unload our 2-shot autoloader and take out that tank. We do get some revenge and secure 1 more kill before we fall there. And yeah, that's disappointing. We were really putting in some good work. We'll save the post-battle results for after our second battle, and then we'll see just how good we did in that tank and how it still wasn't good enough because of the limitations of this tank. So our second battle is once again in the Bourrasque, and this time we are on highway, and it's another standard battle, but this time it's a tier 10 battle. The previous battle was tier 9, which is great for the Bourrasque. If you're at a tier 8, oh, you feel so powerful going up against tanks that you can regularly take the full health of if you see some tier 6s in there. Tier 9s you can certainly handle, and as we'll see in this battle, tier 10s can be handled as well. Again, you're not going to be able to lone wolf it. You have to play that support role and be the assassin. Pick and choose your time to make those strikes. And unfortunately, at the start of this battle, we are going to have some difficulties with the light tank on our team. We were kind of trying to get into a position for a bush spot to get set up, and the light tank did not like the path we were taking, and so went out of our way to go to the left and then cut hard to the right and completely spin us out. Thankfully, we were able to get into position before we got spotted. Otherwise, that would have been a very quick end to this game. On highway, if you get spotted out in the open on this ridge, especially in a tier 10 battle, there are tanks sniping from the far positions and you will get eliminated very quickly. But we got ourselves into a bush, and we know now that we are safe to shoot at this really far target as we're not seeing anything close. We do have some tanks in front of us doing some additional spotting, putting out that view range. So we felt pretty safe about those first 2 shots, and at least one of them went through to get some early damage. So now there is an E50 there on the enemy team, or it's an E75. And so because that tank is so well armored and we're at such a long range, I am a little bit worried about my penetration. We have a standard clip loaded, so we hold the shot until he comes down that hill pretty much flush on, and we put in that shot. And then a Kunze-Panzer is at very long range again, but also traveling sideways onto us, so we put that shot in as well. So that was a very successful magazine. I believe both of those are tier 9 German tanks, and we put in a full clip worth of damage. So we're on our reload, we're still in the bush, things are going really well, and we're in that kind of second line, and look at how aggressive our team is being here pushing in. So I was about to make a blitz for it, but we saw the tank destroyer on the enemy team, I think that was a Russian tank destroyer, gets obliterated. We were gonna go for a shot, but we didn't get to aim before he got taken out. And this is really good for this map. So this is the other side, right? When your team is doing well, making an aggressive push, you can use the tank's mobility and other great statistics to kind of take advantage of that and push that and snowball that. And unfortunately, one of the statistics that let us down there was the accuracy. The bloom was a little bit big there, but boy, that shot went really high and wide to miss our target. So fortunately enough, as we crest the hill here, we can use that time to get our gun reloaded and have 2 clips once again in the tank ready to go. And my allies are really cleaning up there on the far side towards the base, so instead I shortcut towards the town, and we see an E50M, and we put in, looks like 2 damaging shots once again into the side of that well-armored German tank. Boy, I have it out for the German tanks in this video. The Bourrasque is really getting some revenge on the Germans. Okay, so we got spotted there, which was a little bit unfortunate, but most of the tanks are in the town, and we can get back and use the hill and the buildings, and I think we'll be okay here. until we get unspotted and go off the radar, and we are able to do so. So we're reloaded, and now we want to go for another clip. And before we do that, we can see our allies have started a cap. We've got 2 in the cap, which is a little aggressive. We're up 3 tanks here, but it's still close. And so maybe we're just putting some pressure on, trying to get those guys to split their forces. Some come back, some go forward. But we don't have a lot of time, right? If our allies are thinking about capping, we need to be aggressive. And then all of a sudden, it looks like they got the result they wanted. Some tanks came back. The enemy is split. We're up a couple tanks. So now they feel pretty confident in getting out of that cap circle and engaging the enemy. But one thing we have to watch out for is this group of enemies down here ahead of us. They're pushing towards our base, and there's 3 of them. And if they all get in there, they're going to be pretty far away from any support of our team, and 3 tanks can cap out a base really quickly. So I'm going to use my mobility to try and help prevent that situation. I'm going to go out and wide and circle all the way around to the back, and then hopefully have some shots on those tanks heading towards the cap circle. And now we can see they're pretty much the only tanks left. There are those 3 tanks here, and then our big group of allies that tried to capture the enemy base and then successfully pushed out of it is engaging the last heavy tank over on that flank. So this should be a good opportunity to get a little bit of extra damage. I'm here pretty much by myself. I don't want to be reckless, because if I get destroyed, there's a chance, it's a non-zero chance, that we would lose this battle if those 3 tanks get into the cap circle. We've got 2 tank destroyers, but they're down low. They can't see the cap circle, and I don't know if they'd make it back in time. So we're going to move in here, and we see it's a K91 and it's an E50M, I believe, and they're both on really low health. So let's go and try and see if we can get an assassination. There we go. We got the E50M, and it's a K91 who came in, got us a little bump, but we were able to back up enough, and another double deuce. 2 shots, 2 kills, a perfect round for the auto loader. And those are 2 tier 10 vehicles. So we'll take both of those out, go for our reload, and there's just 1 tank left, and I believe it's a Chinese tank, the WZ-1115A. He's looking the other way. We are just about reloaded. We get reloaded, fire in that shot, and secure our 3rd kill of the game, and that is a victory. And you can just feel the difference. When the team is good, the Bourrasque snowballs that win and supports and can move and can just flex and help wherever it needs to turn a good situation into a great one, to turn a slight win into a snowball. But in the previous game, when things are bad, even if you're carrying hard, even if you're doing everything you can do, firing on reload, every clip has a kill or 2, it's not going to be enough, because eventually you're going to be overwhelmed by the rest of those tanks, because you have that long reload and that poor armor situation. So taking a quick look at the post-battle results for the first game, the loss on Kaunas, we can see 7 kills, 2,363 damage. That's a pretty good game in the Bourrasque. The damage is, middle, but the 7 kills, a devastator middle. I mean, that's crazy. And the stats reflect that in terms of silver. We did not have a premium account going at the time. So 67,000 silver was our take home. We would have cleared 100K with a premium account. The XP was good, but that's boosted by an event that's going on. We certainly didn't have a 3,000 base XP. And let's take a quick look at the medals. So it is, of course, that Devastator and Top Gun for 7 kills, which also includes the 6 kills for the Top Gun, a Fire for Effect medal, and a Tank Sniper, and all of that, 7 kills in a Tier 9 battle, and it's only worth a 3rd class Mastery badge. Again, the damage was a little low, no real assistance damage, so the performance in this tank is really high, so that just comes away with a 3rd class, and again, that's even hurt because I think we lose, so we don't get the bonus XP, and Mastery badges are all about that XP total. So a good game, a well-fought game. I managed the reload well, I helped early, eliminated the scout, moved into a position on the other flank and tried to support it and go aggressive, and it just wasn't enough. A good personal performance, but not enough to secure the win. And now taking a quick look at the post-battle results from the win on Highway, a fairly similar result in terms of end result. Silver, again, no premium account at the time, so we cleared just under 60,000 silver, and we would have been really, really close to 100K if we had a premium account going. And that was 3 kills, 2,480 damage for 9 direct hits, and we had a smattering of assistance damage. I'm guessing that would probably have been some spotting, although I think we did have a tracking shot in there as well. So we can take a quick look. when we get to the detailed performance page. But first, let's take a little look at the medals that we secured. And we can see that the medals include a bit of at least in my situation, a rare one. This is the Oskins medal, awarded for a medium tank game in which you destroy 3 enemy tanks on the enemy team. Tanks are tank destroyers, so I think artillery won't count. And the targets have to be 2 tiers higher than your tank. And so that's 3 kills, and we only had 3 kills, but fortunately all 3 of them were tier 10s in that game. So yes, the Bourrasque can be deadly even to those tier 10 tanks if you're able to, as we did in that battle, get their flank, use the mobility, get around them, and if they're a one-shot or if they're on low health, you can use that clip to assassinate them very quickly before your limited armor is able to be used against you with those big guns that those tier 10s tend to carry. On top of that, we had a bruiser and a fire for effect, and you can see a second class mastery badge for this battle. And again, I don't think it was as impressive as the first one. I think we had a better game in the first battle, which was a loss, but getting that bonus XP for the win boosts this up to a second class. And again, we played well enough to support, and we certainly didn't let the game be a throw by letting the enemy team push into the base. We were able to get back, and I don't know if we saved it, but it was certainly the right play, and it certainly paid off for the team, but also for us individually, as that's what let us get those 3 cleanup kills at the end of the battle. So in that victory, we can see that the Progetto 65 on our team had a really nice game. 5 kills, 4,500 damage. Shout out to Sambin 630 for doing some heavy lifting in that game. And we can see we did come in on top. That wasn't MVP performance, 1,460 base XP, which was enough to get us the second class mastery badge and not quite enough for a first class mastery badge. So that's going to wrap up this double feature for the Bourrasque. Hopefully this helps show some of the, not just the individual strengths and weaknesses of the tank, but kind of the meta of the tank, in that, yes, it is very good, and yes, it does have these awesome capabilities, but it has its limitations. If your team isn't up to the task, it's going to be hard for this tank to dig you out of some of those games. But it's still a great one. I still recommend grabbing it if ever you have the chance to. If it goes on sale for free XP or any other method, this is a good one, a really fun tank, and you can see it just prints the silver, win or loss. So that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.